Right. Moving from the needs analysis portion of our four-step sales process, we are now going to go into recommend and demonstrate. Assuming that we've gone through and done a proper needs analysis, we should be in a wonderful position to start recommending product and solutions to our customer. Before we dive into how this is to be done, I do want to give you a strong encouragement to, as you're keeping notes, as we've talked about before, make sure you're writing down the different pain points that they've expressed to you, and side by side with that, list out the different features and functionalities of the product that will match and solve their pain. The reason I want you to do this is if you start recommending and demonstrating product that is misaligned or does not correlate with the pains that they've already expressed, you instantly become the salesperson. Rather than being a consultant, walking them through and assisting them through the customer journey, you're just there to get a sale and a commission because you're starting to do things that don't make sense and don't resonate. So keep your list of pains that they've expressed side by side with the features and the product that will help alleviate that, and use that to craft your recommendation. That said, we're going to talk a little bit now about recommendation and storytelling as it relates to this sales experience. Anybody can just jump straight in and start giving features, and what we want to do today is provide you with a powerful tool to set you apart as that sales rep, as that consultant, who will ultimately not only win the sale, but build a relationship that will ensure continuing revenue and relationship with that customer. How do we do that? Through storytelling. Now, if that seems a little odd to you, let me give you an example of what I mean. We all have bought something off of Amazon. And when we go to Amazon, the website is designed beautifully in that when we type in the item that we're looking for, the first few things that come up are what? The name and title of the thing, obviously, but next, right under that, is the star rating, the customer reviews. And if you're anything like me, even before I read the product description that the company has provided, I'm going to scroll down to those customer reviews. Why? Because I want to hear the stories of people who have been in my situation. Anybody else who's been looking for this same item has had similar experiences, and I want to know what theirs has been with this product. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read those stories, those reviews, and what it does for me is it builds an emotional connection. Connection is the first piece of our storytelling. In a sales situation, how do we connect? Well, if they've outlined the pain for us, we roll right into that by saying, you know what, I've worked with other companies just like yours. Say, other reps just like you who are going through a very similar thing. If you've done a good job through needs analysis, you can get very specific with that and say, you know what, you've told me that your turnover is at this percentage. I've been working with a company who has a very similar turnover rate. And then you can go into that because there's a deep emotional connection. They will understand what you're about to say because they're already putting themselves in the place of that person. Okay, or the other company that you're referring to. So connection comes first. After there's a connection, there has to be some kind of pain. Why? You've already asked the client about the pain that they're experiencing, and if you start telling about someone else's experience and someone else's pain, again, it deepens the emotional connection. It deepens their envisioning of themselves in that same situation. Once we've described and painted the picture of pain, there needs to be a resolution. Resolution meaning that the person or the company going through this situation that you're outlining has to end higher than they began. I'm working with a company similar to yours. They've got a very similar turnover rate, and what that was doing for them is that they could not stay in the black. I mean, they were constantly having to hire new people, and the cost of recruitment and the cost of training and everything just kept them completely burdened down in overhead, and they couldn't get ahead of the game, no matter how hard the sales reps were trying. Connection, pain. But you know what? We were working with them and we were able to find a solution together that made it possible for them to not only reduce the number of attrition, but increase the level of productivity, and their employee engagement scores are now through the roof. Okay, so now we're at that resolution phase. And if I tell someone that kind of a story and they're with me for the ride, the next natural thing that they're going to wonder is, well, what was that solution? What was it that helped get them to that point? And if you can get someone asking that question, your job is all but done. You move into the close section of our sales, four-step sales process right then and there. If they're starting to ask, well, what was that solution? You flip right into it and you say, well, you know what, based on what we've talked about, this and this and this would match perfectly for you because that's exactly what it did for them. Why don't we go ahead and set you up with a sales consultant who can finish that conversation for you, whatever it's going to look like, right? Now, I want, just for fun, gauge this against any story that you are familiar with or that you have an affinity for, okay? Let's take an example from pop culture. Let's take Star Wars. Okay, let's go with the original trilogy because most people are aware of that and know the whole story. Connection. Do we start with connection? Do we start with blowing up the Death Star? No. If we started in the trenches, we'd be lost and we wouldn't understand. We wouldn't have any buy-in. Where do we start with our hero? Luke is a farm boy who wants to go into town, but his uncle tells him he's got to do his chores. Have we ever wanted to go and party with their friends and told, no, we have to do these things first? Sure we have. Automatic connection. Now, when Luke all of a sudden has his family die and he's going on these different things and he sees his friends and all these different horrible situations, we care about him and what he's going through because we connected at first, right up front. And as we go through this, we start to root for his success and we start saying, you can do it, stick in there. Why do we do that? Because we start projecting ourselves into his position. And we start saying, you know what? Because I've connected, I think I could be in this situation too, and I want to survive and I want to succeed just as much as I want to see him do the same thing. Once the resolution comes, we cheer, we celebrate, we are there right along him with getting the medal and getting all these different things, and the music is playing, and we are there, and we walk out of the theater feeling like we have accomplished what he did because of this journey. Again, it's a powerful, powerful medium, storytelling, and we need to employ it when we're in a sales situation. And recommend and demonstration is the time and place for us to do exactly that. Again, if we are able to do it properly, the close comes naturally. If you can get them asking that question, well, what was the solution? What was the resolution that helped get them to this point? Your job's all but done. It's all in the details at that point, and we can move right on to our next engagement.